From love to bitterness. From trust to betrayal. This is the story of Justina, a kind woman who allowed her pain to turn to hate. What would become of Justina? Sit back as we unfold this together.
A heavy cane hit Mama Victoria's back. "Ah!" she cried softly, calling up like a frightened child. Her bones were weak, her skin thin, but the cane didn't care. Each stroke hit harder that she fell from her wheelchair. "Just die already!" Justina shouted. Her eyes were filled with tears, but not the kind that come from love, the kind that burn from anger. "Mama Victoria," whispered, trembling, "what did I do to deserve this?" "You know what you did," Justina screamed again. "Quit the pretense, it doesn't suit you. You evil woman. No wonder the scriptures said a man's enemy is a member of his household. You are the enemy that doesn't want the happiness of this home. You have been in this house for 7 whole years, and since then, no child, no cry of a baby. I've prayed, I've fasted, I've gone to the hospital, but nothing. My friend Jane said it's your fault. She said you have been eating up my babies. You are a witch." Mama Victoria cried out again, her voice barely a whisper, as the cane landed on her back again. She couldn't walk, but she could see and feel. Every strike was like fire on her skin. The more she tried to use her fragile hands to block the cane, the angrier it made Justina. She didn't fight back. She was too weak. She only curled tighter and wept. Suddenly, creak, the door opened. Standing there, in his work clothes, was Kenneth. He had come home early because he had forgotten an important document he was to use for his presentation later that day. What he saw stopped his heart. His wife, holding a cane. His old lame mother, beating and shaking on the floor. Her wheelchair tossed over the side of the living room. For a moment, the whole world went quiet. "Justina?" Kenneth's voice was ice. What are you doing?" The cane dropped from Justina. It hit the floor like a broken promise. I can explain," Justina whispered, stepping back. But Kenneth didn't wait. He walked past her, knelt by his mother, who was groaning in pain, and held her gently. "Mama, it's me. I'm here, searching for eyes." Mama Victoria's voice was soft and broken. "Ken, why did she beat me? I didn't do anything. I'm innocent of all the accusations. I'm not a witch. Carrying my grandchildren is my earnest prayers," tears streaming down her wrinkled face. Kenneth's heart broke like a clay pot, fighting so hard not to break down and cry. He carried her in his arms, as light as a leaf, and shouted, "Driver, start the car. We are going to the hospital now." He didn't even look back at Justina. Justina stayed on the floor. Her ears still rang from Kenneth's slap, but what rang louder was her own guilt. Still, deep down, she thought, maybe I'm right. Maybe Mama really is a witch. Jane, her friend, had told her so many things. Old witches don't die easily. Why do you keep having miscarriages? It's her fault. She's probably eating your babies in the spirit realm. Justina had believed it. She had allowed fear and pain to grow into hate. Now, Kenneth was gone, and so was the woman she used to be. The once gentle, loving, and kind woman was gone. She couldn't hold back her tears. At the hospital, everything was quiet except the beeping of machines. Kenneth sat outside the emergency room. His hands were tight, his face tired. So many things running through his mind. His mother, his sweet Mama Victoria, was inside, broken and hurting. He tried to process what he had witnessed earlier, doubting if the woman he left at home was the sweet and loving Justina he had fallen in love with years back. A nurse came out and said gently, disrupting his thoughts, "She is stable, but we must watch her closely. Her heart is weak and her injuries need to heal." Kenneth nodded and went inside. When Mama Victoria heard his voice, she smiled. "My son." Kenneth held her hand. "Mama, I'm so sorry. I should have seen the truth. I shouldn't have brought her into our house. I should have known she was a monster." "No, my child, you didn't know. I never told you, but she hated me. Even before I came into your house, I could feel it in the way she spoke. But I stayed silent because I didn't want to make things harder for you. I didn't want to be the one to break your home. But I also didn't think she would go as far as doing what she did." Kenneth's heart broke again. Why? Why did she change? It wasn't just her. Someone planted that fear in her, and that fear became hate. I'm a woman, and I know the pain, the sleepless night, and tears that come with not having a child of your own. I may not have been in a position of looking for a child, but I understand her pain. You know, in the world we live in now, every old individual is tagged a witch or wizard, and I'm an old woman living with her, so it made easy for her to believe. I'm not trying to defend or justify her actions. All I'm saying is, forgive her. Kenneth looked at her and urged her to stop talking and have a proper rest. Back at the house, Justina stood in front of the mirror, her cheeks still red, her heart heavy. The house was quiet as a graveyard. The silence felt like punishment. She sat at the dining table, her head on the wood, and remembered Jane's voice. "Open your eyes, oh, Justina. That woman is a witch. You will never have children until she dies." Justina had doubted once, but fear is like a snake. It slithers in and whispers lies. And Justina had believed those lies. She never asked questions. She never looked for the truth. She just let fear win. 5 days passed. Kenneth stayed with Mama Victoria. He didn't leave her side. His driver did all the running around, like buying of food and bringing change of clothes. She smiled more now, though her body still shook sometimes. That evening, as the orange sun sank behind the hospital windows, Mama Victoria held Kenneth's hand. "Ken," she said gently,
"I want you to forgive your wife. I don't want to ruin your marriage," she said softly. "But I cannot stay where I'm not wanted. If leaving will bring back peace in your home, then I'll leave. I can manage on my own. Besides, you fixed my wheelchair, so moving around won't be a problem." Kenneth looked into her eyes, full of pain and love. Then he looked away. "Mama, you did nothing wrong. I married Justina because I love her, and also because I wanted a peaceful home. But now, I don't even know who she is anymore." Mama Victoria sighed. "Sometimes people get lost, not because they want to, but because they listen to the wrong voices." Kenneth nodded. "It's time to stop pretending. She almost ended your life. I don't even think she's sorry, because if she was, she would have been here to see you. It's not like she doesn't know this is our family hospital." Mama Victoria closed her eyes and whispered, "I'll pray for her." But Kenneth had already made a decision. That evening, the mansion felt too big, too quiet. Justina heard the gate open. She rushed downstairs, wearing a soft smile, her makeup hiding the redness on her cheek. "Ken," she said, pretending to be happy. "Thank God you're back. How's Mama?" "She's fine," Kenneth said, walking past her and sitting on the couch. "She'll leave the hospital tomorrow." "That's good," Justina replied, standing like a child caught in a lie. There was silence. Then Kenneth looked her in the eye and said, "So, if I hadn't come home earlier that day, you will have killed my mom, right? What happened? What changed? I loved you. I trusted you. I have been supportive. I have never pressured you to give me children. Despite us not having our own children, I remained faithful to you. I've been committed to this marriage, and this how you pay me back?" He paused, wiping his face. "I want a divorce." Her knees gave way.
What? No, Ken, please. I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. Please don't do this. Please, I beg you. Ken, she called, sobbing uncontrollably. He stood up, his eyes cold, like harmattan wind. You beat a lame woman, my mother. You didn't just hurt her. You broke this home. She crawled toward him, still sobbing. Jane told me. She said Mama was behind my childlessness. And you believed her? Kenneth shouted. You let a stranger poison your heart. And now you want me to forget it all. He stepped back. This is the consequence. 3 days later, the news broke like thunder. Billionaire CEO, Kenneth Nwankwa files for divorce. New woman revealed. The whole world saw it. Blog posts, videos, headlines. For 8 months, Kenneth was alone and friend-zoning a beautiful lady. And for these 8 months, blogs never stopped posting. He eventually asked this beautiful lady out, and she said yes. Kenneth wasn't alone anymore. Standing beside him was a tall, calm, and beautiful woman. Her name was a lawyer he had met during one of his visits to a friend. While Kenneth held her hand, smiling, Justina sat at home, in the dark. No husband, no peace, just silence and shame. She tried calling Kenneth's number not reachable. She screamed and threw the phone across the room. This can't be happening, she wept, but it was. Kenneth had spoken at a press conference. Calmly, he said, my marriage with Justina is over. This is a kind woman who reminds me of what peace feels like. The cameras clicked. The media exploded. Didn't say a word, but her quiet smile and gentle presence said everything. Justina curled up on the couch in her once beautiful mansion, wearing the same wrapper for days. Then she saw the TV. Photos of Kenneth and smiling, helping others, living in peace. Tears ran down Justina's face. She picked up her phone again, and for the first time, she opened James' chat. She typed, you won. He's gone. You told me to fight his mother. Now I've lost everything. No reply. Then she clicked on Jane's profile. Her heart sank. Jane lived in a broken-down house. No job, no husband, no peace. Just listening to a bitter soul. And now her life was in ashes. A week later, came to collect the final divorce papers. He said nothing. Ken, please, can we talk? Justina begged. He turned and said calmly, I don't hate you, Justina, but I can't trust you anymore. You hurt my mother. She's all I have. If you loved me like you claimed, you wouldn't have laid your hands on my mother. I'm taking the mansion, and I'm leaving you with the supermarket and your car. My lawyer will contact you with the rest of the process. He was about to walk away when she grabbed him by the shoulder, searching for his eyes. Tears swelled up her own eyes. I was wrong. I know that now. He looked at her with tired eyes. You listened to lies. You hurt my mother. You lost me. He handed her a white envelope and walked away. 1 year later, Kenneth and were married, and they welcomed a baby girl, Rose. The same womb that Justina called cursed had never been the problem. It was never about the womb. It was about the heart. Justina moved out of the mansion and rented a smaller apartment. She tried running the supermarket, but couldn't as she was slowly going into depression. She tried to move on, but she couldn't stop thinking about how happy her life would have been if she hadn't listened to Jane. She eventually lost the supermarket and decided to move back to the village. Back in the village, Justina now lived in her parents' small mud house. She had no husband, no business, no friend, only memories, whispers, and regret. She was always home thinking and crying, as she had no parents or sisters to talk to. One quiet day, she sat peeling bitter kola under the mango tree. Knock, knock, knock. Who is there? She called. She opened the old wooden door and gasped. It was Emem. In her arms was the baby girl. Pink shawls, soft cheeks, and tiny eyes. The baby stared at Justina. Justina stepped back. Why are you here? Emem answered softly. We came to see a relative of Kenneth who is very sick, and I asked Kenneth if I could see you before we left. Justina flinched at Kenneth's name. The two women stood in silence. The baby was calm, the wind gentle.
I see God didn't block your womb, Justina whispered. Emem smiled kindly. It was never about blocked wombs, Justina. It was about blocked hearts. Justina fell to her knees, tears falling freely. I ruined everything. I let fear and a foolish friend destroy me. Emem knelt beside her. You are not the only one who has been misled, she said gently. But to find peace, we must face the weight of our choices. I don't like that you've allowed this situation to take a toll on you like this. Look at you. You deserve to be happy again. It was just one mistake. I believe you've learned from your mistakes. Get up and make something meaningful out of your life. Wallowing in self-pity isn't going to bring back what you have lost. You are beautiful, kind, and smart. Make things work again. I hurt Mama Victoria, Justina cried. She never even fought back. She forgave you, Emem said softly. Before our wedding, she told Kenneth not to hold bitterness in his heart. That broke Justina. She cried for everything she lost and everything she had become. You can't go back, Emem whispered, but you can go forward. Start again. Live simply. Learn to love yourself, even without a man's name. A seed of hope bloomed in Justina's heart. As Emem stood to leave, she let Justina hold her baby. Justina wept again. She smells like him. She has his stubborn eyes too. Emem smiled. Before walking away, she said, Take care of yourself, Justina, and handed her a white envelope. It's never too late to rewrite your story. Justina watched the dust rise behind Emem's footsteps. She whispered, Thank you, Emem. But before she could return to the house, a voice called out from under the mango tree. It was Jane, the same woman who ruined everything. She wore fake gold earrings and dusty slippers. Still blaming me for your failure? Jane smirked. Justina stared, speechless. You lied to me. You poisoned my heart. You destroyed my marriage. Jane rolled her eyes. Please. I didn't beat Ken's mother. You did that. You picked the cane. You ruined your life. Justina stood still. I trusted you. You were my best friend. Jane laughed bitterly. Ha ha, we were like sisters, but everything good always happened to you. Remember how a total stranger paid your fees in secondary school, claiming you were an orphan? That should be me, but no, he chose to help you instead, and I had to sell water to pay mine. The day Kenneth came to the village, he saw me first, but yet again, he still chose you over me and you became a queen. You left me behind to struggle alone while you were there enjoying luxurious life. Every month, you sent me peanuts, feeling like the world revolved around you. So yes, I was jealous. It should have been me helping you, not the other way round. Justina didn't cry.
She looked Jane in the eye and said, "I loved you like my blood, yet you harbored so much hatred for me. I feel sorry for you. But one thing is certain, Jane, we are not equal. You lost your peace long ago. I found mine." And she walked away. Months passed. Justina began to rebuild her life slowly. She finally made peace with herself. She relocated back to the city with the little money gave her. She was able to rent a self-contained apartment. She decided to go job hunting, and she was not ready to start up a business of her own yet. "I want to heal completely to avoid future mistakes when I finally start up my business," she said, walking in the busy street of Port Harcourt with her credentials in her hands. After 1 month of job hunting, Justina couldn't get a good job, and she decided to go for a cleaning job in a local clinic. She helped sweep at the local clinic, she fetched water, folded bandages, smiled at strangers. She was no longer a boss, but she had found peace. The women noticed her. One kind nurse began to teach her how to help deliver babies. She discovered she had fallen in love with this profession and decided to further. One day, she held a newborn girl in her arms, smiled and whispered, "I feel like a woman again." Back in Lagos, Kenneth and raised their daughter with laughter and love. One day, brought in a newspaper. Former billionaire's wife, now midwife, a story of redemption. Kenneth stared at the photo. Smiling faintly, holding a newborn in her arms. Said, "She's changed." Kenneth nodded slowly. "She was never a bad person, just broken." 1 year later, Justina stood proudly in front of a new building beside the clinic, a women's center for young girls, widows, teen mothers. She trained them to care, to heal, to hope again. That afternoon, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "I'm proud of you, Justina. Keep going." She smiled. She didn't know if it was Kenneth or or Mama Victoria. But it didn't matter. She had found peace. She had found purpose. She had become something greater than anyone expected. Not just a wife, not just a woman in regret. She became a light for others, lost in the dark.